Friends, I had the best time this weekend, especially yesterday, DJing for the Wheels in the Water Gap car show. That, whoa, that was nice. It was out in Pennsylvania, one of my favorite states. I guess Pennsylvania is really a commonwealth, no matter what you call it, it's a great place to be. And oh, I felt so nice out there, just north of the Delaware Water Gap, the town of Delaware Water Gaps, just a couple miles north, if that, from the Gap. And what a pretty ride! I went over onto the Pennsylvania side and took the road from the well, I guess that would be the is that the Portland Bridge? Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think it is off of Route 94. Yeah, and you go up on the western side of the Delaware River. And boy, I think I went up around 7 in the morning, something like that, to get there in time. And I got to say, man, it was pretty. Honestly, it almost bring you to tears. The both mountains that make up the gap, and they're pretty big mountains. You get right down to it. I mean, yeah, you'd be a little whooped climbing to the top, and in some cases it would be a white knuckle climb. I know they've got trails that are much easier, but oh my heavens, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. The river just flowing by and all that. Oh, it was nice. And so I had a great time just getting there. And then when I got there, it got even nicer. I pull into town. I find some of the folks involved with this car show, Wheels in the Water Gap, and hey, Doc, hey, you okay? Boy, you're early, huh? Yeah. I said, well, yeah, yeah, I like to be early. And they said, well, let's get you where you're going to be, and you can get yourself set up and all that, all this stuff. And I, it's a very, very old town, Delaware Water Gap, Pennsylvania. At one time, around the early 1900s, I guess the late 1800s into the early 1900s, it was a place where basically rich people went to get out of the summer heat of New York City, the metropolitan area back then. They would take the train along, I believe that would have been the Lackawanna Railroad, right? Forgive me if I have the name exactly. It was they would take the route of the Phoebe Snow, which basically went from, I guess, New York City. Probably it took a ferry over to Hoboken. Then you got onto trains at the Erie Lackawanna station, and off you went. You shuffled up to Buffalo, I guess, and points west. And and I think their thing was they burned. They were called the route of the Phoebe Snow because their locomotives evidently didn't blow as much soot. They didn't use soft coal. They used hard coal from Scranton, Pennsylvania. And as I understand it, you could wear a white dress on the train. And yes, well, okay. And I seem to remember seeing that in the ads, right? And it's and you would take the Lackawanna cut off through North Jersey, a very very a great time saver for the railroad. Saved precious miles and a pretty ride too. And you'd eventually wind up getting off. Some of the passengers would be getting off at Delaware Water Gap, Pennsylvania, where a horse-drawn carriage would meet them and take them to any number of really fancy schmancy hotels that were in the town, and people would, I guess, just put on the Ritz. There was entertainment, of course. They where actually they set me up. There was an inn there, and it's being refurbished and made like the day it was new. Beautiful. The Castle Inn. They had me on the grounds where I guess their music hall once stood. A music hall where, I guess people like Al Jolson, Caruso, many of these, yeah, would be there singing and stuff. Huh? Yeah. And of course there I am playing doo-wop, but that's all right. Doo-wop's good music. I'll bet Caruso could have sang pretty good doo-wop. You get right down to it. Him and Jay Jay Black of Jay and the Americans could have they could have. I think both of them could have held up with each other rather nicely. And I got a feeling Caruso would have been very good there, a tenor back in the Yeah, in the chorus. I think he'd do just fine. I don't know what kind of dancer he was, but they could teach him a few steps, you know. Yeah. But in any case, they had me there, and I played to the street below. I was kind of like up a little bit higher than the street, and in a shady nook, and just playing records. It was like a picnic, only it was records. Yeah, for me. And the cars, the hot rods started coming in, and everybody just so darn nice. And the town is like it's like an antique shop with sidewalks. It's there's just all around. There's so much history, and you think about it, that was probably a very main route along the Delaware River. Besides river traffic going back and forth, floating downstream or somehow getting themselves upstream, and the rail lines going through. That was a very busy town in the day. In fact, it's still where Delaware Water Gap. If you stop at the Route 80, the very first toll booth in Pennsylvania on Route 80, the Delaware Bridge toll booth on Route 80, you're at the toll booth that was made famous by, who was it? C.W. McCall, that song Convoy. That's where all the trucks went through, weren't going to pay no toll. Remember? Yeah, they all ran through. And now you couldn't do that. Computers would mess you up, but you'd all be getting a good ticket. But that's the toll booth. Yeah, everywhere you turn, there was just a little bit of history. I know a lot of the money raised for this from this event went to help rebuild the old station, the railroad station that is still standing, but it's in dire need of repair. They did tell me that they've got a very good roof on it now, so it's not going to deteriorate any further. Now what they got to do is just keep shoring it up and eventually put on the gingerbread, and they'll have what I think will be a museum. Maybe they'll have train excursions. Speaking of that, Steamtown sent down an excursion train from Scranton, and I don't know how many people were on it. I know, but they got a tour of the town and traveled in by rail. They couldn't use a steam locomotive; they're a little too heavy for the bridges that are along the line. But I guess they went with with a small diesel, brought it in. But yeah. Oh, I'll tell you the truth. I just had a ball. It was just, I don't know. To me, it was one of the greatest venues I've done in a long, long time. That would be a great spot for a weekly cruise night or a monthly cruise night. Although I think it would more cost them money than make them money, but it would be a very, very good spot, because you just can't help but relax. I saw people, they're sitting under a tree somewhere with their hot rod, and they just, oh yeah, the pressure of the work week was well behind them, and they're just enjoying. And people even came up and said they saw the video I made and how they liked it, the video I made to promote the show. The only fly in the ointment was we were all looking over our shoulders at the weather, because there was a call for some major storms to come through. And it kept, luckily I was facing the direction where the storms were coming from, so I kept a pretty sharp eye on the clouds. We were fine till around 2 o'clock or so. It was time to, award the trophies, and I packed up. I said my goodbyes, thanked everyone, and headed into Jersey. And I guess I got about 3 or 4 miles east of Blairstown, and man, I'll tell you, the skies opened up. Oh my heavens, what a mess! Whoa, wind and trees coming down and stuff. I don't know what the heck we were in, but it was something. And by the time I got to Jumbo Land for the Saturday night cruise, they said, "Oh no, Doc, not tonight." God, just look at the mess. And they were right. And there was a threat of more storms coming, so cooler heads prevailed, and I got me a coffee and headed home. But all in all, and again, traveled through areas that were really had some damage, at least trees, wind damage, trees that had come down and flooded roads. It would not have been a good night for a cruise night at Jumboland. And I was pretty tired anyway, so it was. I came home, said hi to the wife. She says, "Oh God, look at you," and I'm so tired. I'm so tired. I think I went to bed at 6:30. and I woke up I think around 7 this morning. Yeah, so I was whooped, but that's all right. I was happy. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Nice place anyway. Delaware Water Gap, Pennsylvania. My advice to you is go there, and I think there's restaurants there. I know one of my friends brought me like a cup of ice cream, and it was Hershey ice cream. Yeah, no, Hershey ice cream, that's the real deal. Oh, that's good stuff. Yeah, I had a little chocolate on one side, vanilla on the other. Yeah, oh, yeah, cool. And you don't always see that stuff. No, so it's, again, Pennsylvania is pretty famous for its good day-to-day food. You get right down to it. Anyway, I thought I'd say it was a great day. I thank everyone from that town that were all so nice to me, and of course the crew that put together Wheels in the Water Gap. That they were just wonderful, and I'm glad the money raised is going to help renovate that town. They actually, right where I was, behind me and a little bit to the north, is they have totally remodeled the dining hall for the Castle Inn. It looks like the day it was made. All the proper paint. I guess they researched how it was done. And honestly, friends, I didn't have time to go. They were giving tours of it, and my songs are 2 minutes long. I can't necessarily leave, but it looked to me like it would be a thrill to go in and see what that main dining room looks like. The fellow who did the tour said that it's pretty much like the day it was made when they first opened the doors, but back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, huh? Yeah. So anyway, you definitely want to go there. A lot of smiling in that town, and that's a good sign. I'll see you later, friends. Thank you, and God bless. Bye now.